I often speak with couples who are at breaking point. The partner struggling with retroactive jealousy is really struggling right now. They can't stop asking questions about the past or digging things up all the time. This far from ending the relationship, even a really good relationship in all other respects, because they can't live with these constant thoughts and feelings. Their partner's at the end of their tether. They're trying their best to be supportive and understanding and hang in there, but they keep being made to feel ashamed or somehow responsible. They've had enough. And they've called it, you need to get help with this or we're done. So they reach out to me and we recognise that this is retroactive jealousy. And it's most often a form of OCD. And that's good news in many ways because we can treat OCD pretty effectively. But therapy is a process and it'll take some time, a couple of months maybe, for these emotional reactions and these compulsions to settle. And couples ask me, completely understandably, okay, that sounds great, but what do we do for now? What do we do after this call? Today, tonight, tomorrow, when it all flares up? The partner with retroactive jealousy knows that they have to stop doing the compulsions, the asking, the checking, the seeking assurance all the time. But they've tried that already, and either they can't stop or they're bottling it all up inside now. What do I do when I'm having thoughts? Can I at least tell my partner what I'm thinking? Or am I supposed to take myself away? I'm worried I'll have to do something, otherwise I might freak out, and I get it. A big component of therapy is being able to roll with the thoughts and the feelings and learn how to let them pass along. But it takes practice. It's a new attitude. We can't just develop it overnight. I have no magic words on that initial call to make that happen. And the supportive partner asks me what they should be doing right now. They know that these constant questions and intrusions into their past have to stop. But when they try to shut it down, their partner's retroactive jealousy just rears up even more. And they've tried saying, this is your retroactive jealousy, or this is your OCD. We are not doing this, but it hasn't been helping. Partners can feel like it's all on them too, like they keep making mistakes or being insensitive. Partners say to me, have I got to be really careful from now on? Do I have to keep tiptoeing around my partner, never mentioning the past? Is this how this gets better? And of course not. We can be aware of the problem and supportive, but triggers and thoughts will keep happening, no matter how sensitive we try to be. Now at this point, I often find it useful to ask the couple how long they've been together. How have you managed so far? Often they say the retroactive jealousy comes and goes. It's not always like this. Can we find ways to hold it together safely for a bit longer so we can really work on this? This isn't about maintaining a toxic or abusive relationship. Everyone's best out of that. But this work is about healing a loving, working partnership that's been impacted by retroactive jealousy OCD. So what is realistic and doable today? Well, sometimes the couples I speak with are having couples therapy or they're on some kind of temporary break. They've recognised that the retroactive jealousy struggle is on one partner's side, and someone has said, go and sort it out, go and work on this. Now, I think this is pragmatic. Some time apart can be healthy for any relationship under stress. Sometimes it's just not doable because of kids or the family situation. And also, when partners do separate for a while, the person with retroactive jealousy tends to feel significant relief because a lot of the triggers just go away. And retroactive jealousy thinking can hijack this and say, there you go, you feel better already. Away from your partner, it's them that's the problem. So we don't step up to really working on this, but we feel a bit better, and then we come back together as a couple, and it's only a matter of time before retroactive jealousy aggro starts up again. And a big part of overcoming retroactive jealousy is being able to be around triggers and reminders. We have to lean into these things. So let's look at some things couples can do together, staying close. Understand what's driving these questions and behaviours. Now, I've got another video with some explanation of how intrusive thoughts lead to all these questions and the accusations all around the past. And for partners, this kind of understanding can help make retroactive jealousy feel a little bit less like a personal attack. Now, we're not making excuses for the questions and the harassment about the past. This is a compulsion that has to stop. But understanding what's underlying them can help diffuse things a bit, at least for now. But more importantly, I suggest that couples agree on a realistic way to handle retroactive jealousy flare-ups, accepting that they will continue to happen. Therapists Sally Winston and Martin Seath remind us of the Ulysses Pact. So in the ancient legend, the hero Ulysses had to sail past the sirens and their entrancing song, calling him, tempting him towards them. But he knew their game, and it was a trap, and he'd end up crashing on the rocks. So Ulysses knew he would hear the song. So he instructed his men to block their own ears with wax and tie him to the mast, to deliberately restrain him. Then they sailed past the sirens, and this song wafted across the waves. And Ulysses went temporarily insane, straining and pleading with his men to let him follow it, and they refused, and they sailed past, and the song faded into the distance. Partners can agree to recognise when retroactive jealousy thoughts are biting and not follow or feed them with discussion of the past, or answering questions about the past, or assurances. Even when the partner struggling says, "I need to know one more time, just this one clarification, if you really love me," etc. Partners can say, "I think we're in Ulysses land here, don't you? Remember what we agreed? And this is one of those times, right?" Now, when therapy or self-help is well underway, we can try and be strict about this. You both agree, no going there, no assurances, answers, or apologising for the past. We're learning how to sail right past without any of these old reactions. And partners can discuss and come up with such an agreement right away, just realising that they may have to be a little less strict. It might not go to plan, but even when that's the case and we end up going there, giving answers or assurance, both partners can be more aware of the pattern. And it's a learning curve. Sometimes having assurance tokens gives us a bit of realistic flexibility. Okay, I know you're going to struggle with the thoughts at times, and they might get the better of you. So you get 2 tokens or passes a week, say. And when you're really struggling, you can trade one in and I'll give you some assurance or an answer. But let's both see this for what it is. Let's try not go in there, giving you a chance to practice leaving the thoughts alone. And this can be effective. And when couples find that they aren't using up the tokens, we know we're on the right track. Timeouts too. A tried and tested way to diffuse situations. If you're struggling with your thoughts and you're feeling the urge to talk about it or question, take yourself away for a bit. Not to sit and ruminate somewhere, but to get outside or get on with something, to get back into the present moment. And let your partner know that you're struggling right now and you'll be back in 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever. You're not going off in a weird sulk or a display of, "Look what your past does to me," because those are compulsions. Say you're having a wobble or a blip and you're going to let it pass and you'll be back and you'll be better for it. And again, this can be agreed in advance. It's not personal. And little ways of distracting ourselves, putting some music on or doing a breathing technique for relaxation. This can be helpful. Distracting ourselves can be a compulsion, and it might be something that we work to eliminate further down the line in therapy or self-help. You don't need to reach for Spotify every time you're struggling with thoughts. But if it helps for now, it's much better than pulling your partner in yet again. And I say to people struggling with retroactive jealousy and their partners, expect it to be difficult at times. Messy, frustrating. Even if we do really well for a stretch of days, a week, retroactive jealousy finds ways to bubble up again. And if it flares up again, it's disappointing, I know. But if we can see it as part of the learning curve and not a crashing failure, we can keep up this positive momentum. Okay, there's some work to do here. Maybe we found a thought or a feeling that needs a little exposure work, or a compulsion that we didn't quite recognise at the time. Something else for the partner with retroactive jealousy to get practicing with. If you struggle with retroactive jealousy, or your partner does, I hope this helps in figuring out what you can do now and what you can expect moving forwards together, in a supportive and realistic way. In these initial conversations with couples, I remind them that OCD exploits what we care about most, what's closest to our hearts. And I've yet to meet anyone who obsessed over the past of a partner they didn't really care about or they were ambivalent about. Retroactive jealousy is pretty cruel in this way. It's hard on both partners. And these agreements and suggestions and therapy itself can feel like a big leap of faith. But in many ways, the fact that you're here as a couple tells us that it's worth persevering and taking that leap of faith.